Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
It is Tuesday. All of our guests today, including Shane O'Brien, standing by, brought to you by our friends at the Whistler Golf Club. Golf season, Rick, just around the corner. I've been instructed I have to read this before Shane comes on. Shane O'Brien is the co-host of the popular podcast Missin Curfew on the DraftKings Network. The show is also available via audio wherever fans listen to podcasts, including on Spotify and Apple. Also follow them on social at Missin Curfew as we bring in from the Missin Curfew podcast, Shane O'Brien, former Canuck. How are you, sir?
Good, boys. How you doing? Always love joining you guys. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem. Hey, Shane, we spent part of our first segment talking about JT Miller, sizzling hot with the New York Rangers. Just your take on how well he's playing since that trade versus what's happening points-wise, not much, with Elias Pettersson.
Yeah, I mean, as you guys know more than anyone, you guys are up there. It was a tough situation. I still don't know how it got to that point. It is what it is. When have I ever traded JT Miller? Never. I mean, JT Miller's, in my opinion, don't grow on trees. Yeah, he's a little bit older than Pettersson. Yeah, he's a fiery guy, and stuff goes on at times. But I just love his game, his compete. As you guys know, you watched him play for how many years in Vancouver. He gets on the forecheck. He can work the half wall. He can get to the net front. He can play the high little bumper in the slot in the power play. He sees the ice well, and he competes. And for me, a guy that competes that well, it's hard to let guys go. However, they have to live with it. And right now, he's kind of shoving it up the you-know-what of the Vancouver Canucks.
Hey, Shane, and we ask pretty much all of our guests this right now, but this is the first time we've had you on in a while. What do you see when you watch Elias Pettersson play?
Just no confidence. And, confidence is such an important thing for any player. If it goes from Pettersson all the way down to the seventh defenseman. If you're lacking confidence in the National Hockey League, it's an unforgiving league. And for me, it's lack of speed. I mean, under Travis Green and under Bruce Boudreau, when he was playing with more speed and he get the puck, and regroup and go. Now to me, he's lost that half a step that separates yourself in the NHL. And when you lose that half a step, you become very average very quick. And I just question his compete. I get it. Things are not going well for you. It's tough right now for him, but he signed that massive contract. He owes it to the Vancouver Canucks fans, his teammates, the city, to work his way out of it. And right now, to me, boys, when I watch him play, he just looks satisfied with not doing anything offensively. And for me, when you're a go-to guy, you got to have more pride than that.
Hey, Shane, look at the Canucks where they are in the standings. They're in a bit of a bind this week. Do you buy? Do you sell? What do you do both? What would you do right now if you're the GM of the Canucks right now, Shane?
Yeah, that's a great question. And personally, as an ex-Canuck guy, and I had high expectations for this hockey club heading into this season. I was there last year in the second round against Edmonton when Rogers Arena was absolutely rocking. The city was buzzing. I'm like, this is awesome. Vancouver Canucks hockey is back. And everyone around the world realized what a great city Vancouver is when you have playoff hockey. And for them to be in the position they are right now, I give credit to Rick Tocchet, the coaching staff. Quinn Hughes, man, that guy – what he's done this year with putting that team on his back, the leadership that he's shown. I mean, I can't imagine that hockey club without him. Listen, when they traded JT Miller, unfortunately, I don't think they're going to be a playoff team anymore. So if I'm in the GM, unfortunately, I'm looking to probably sell a little bit here come Friday.
Shane, take us through some trade deadlines. How tough is it for hockey players? And now they're sitting on their cell phone looking at, I might go here, there, everywhere. How tough is it for players this week?
Yeah, it's tough. It's a day that, sometimes if you're in a good situation, you don't want to leave. And if you're in a bad situation, you're hoping to get an opportunity to go somewhere else. But, we're like everyone else. We have it on in the dressing room. We have it on back in the hotel room. You're just waiting for your cell phone not to ring, hopefully. And then when the deadline goes by and you come into the rink that, next day for practice or that night for a game and you realize this is the group of guys you got to go to war with. And if your GM did pick some guys up, it just makes the whole dressing room rejuvenated and believe. So if you're in a position where your GM adds and you're going to make the playoffs, it's a great feeling. And if you get traded to a situation from a bad one, it's also a great feeling. But you're checking your phone, you got the trade stuff on, and you're just hoping your phone doesn't ring.
Did you get dealt to the trade deadline, Shannon? I know you went from Anaheim to Tampa Bay, February, March, way back when, 07, I think.
Yeah, that was my rookie year. That was 2 days before the deadline. I was driving back down to Newport Beach with Corey Perry, actually, the Worm, who's still kicking in Edmonton.
Yeah.
And you're a rookie when you don't have the GM's number in your phone. And my phone rang, and it was a 949 number. I'm like, Paris, what the? And sure enough, it was Brian Burke, and the big Irishman said, Olmes, where are you? I said, well, I'm driving back to Newport, Burke. He said, well, don't drive off the road because I just traded you. And then you're thinking, I'm in Anaheim, a beautiful place like this. Where am I going? And he said Tampa Bay. So it wasn't the worst thing in the world. But as you guys know, they went on to win the Stanley Cup that year in Anaheim. So it was kind of bittersweet for me.
Yeah, no kidding. Hey, Seth Jones makes his debut yesterday for Florida. They beat Tampa Bay. Speaking of the Lightning, 2-1. He gets a lot of ice time. I think 3-4 shots on goal. Do you understand why they acquired him?
Yeah, I do. I watched a little bit of that game last night. If I'm Seth Jones, I'm watching Aaron Ekblad play. That to me that would be a good for him. Just find out, the way Aaron plays. Aaron had to change his game. Obviously, it helps that he plays with Frosling, Ekblad, that is. But I thought Seth Jones looked pretty good, and I was a guy that was a believer in. Obviously, his contract is a lot of money, but Chicago had to retain some. I think going down to South Florida with that vitamin D will rejuvenate him. Obviously, Matty Tkachuk's out right now, but I think there's lots of good hockey left in him. I think for him, keep it simple, make the right play, because his foot speed is probably not what it used to be, but his size, his good stick, and his veteran presence, I think it's a great fit in South Florida.
Hey, Shane, the top two teams in the league are Winnipeg and Washington. I don't think anyone would have predicted that in the summer. How hard is it to pick a Stanley Cup winner this year? Who are you thinking?
Yeah, the whole year's been weird. Talking about DraftKings, if you would have put some money on Winnipeg and Washington at the start of the year, you'd be doing pretty good here. I love what Washington's doing. I love that they brought a bunch of veteran guys in there. Obviously, Ovi's chasing down the great one. Tom Wilson had a great fight last night with Brady. I'm interested to see how they play out. And then the Winnipeg Jets, I personally, I still don't give them enough credit. But what am I going to, right? They just, I believe, won 11 in a row. They've been the top of the Central all year. To answer your question, though, I think it's a big trade line for Stan Bowman. I think they just picked up Trent Frederick from the Boston Bruins, the kid who I absolutely love. But to answer your question, before the Four Nations break, the way Draisaitl and McDavid are playing together at that particular moment before the break was another level to even that they're used to. So if you had to ask me right now, I still think the Cup goes through Edmonton.
How are you enjoying the podcast world, the broadcast world?
Yeah.
Doing well.
Thank you. Yeah, it's more work than I first thought it would be. I thought I'd just sit down and talk, and you guys make it look easy, right? But there's a lot that goes into it behind the scenes and getting guests and following the league. So it's a real-time job now for me, but it's good. It keeps me out of trouble, boys.
Shane, can you call some of my relatives and tell them how hard our job is?
Yeah, no kidding.
I'm going to take that clip and show it to them, okay? Because they think I do nothing. I mean, they're kind of right compared to what they do. But I appreciate you saying that. Go ahead. It's so true. It's like, I almost look at doing the show like yourself or the Missin podcast for me. When you do the show, that's like playing the game, right? Everyone sees it. Everyone's like, oh, that looks like fun. You don't see the practices, the workouts, preparing, getting guests, watching the game. So it's something I learned early in this business, boys. It's not as easy as it looks. But, hey, I'm very lucky to do it. I love doing it. And it keeps me close to the game, which I really love. Well, you're doing great. Shane, we'll get you back. Thanks so much for this. We appreciate it.
Anytime, boys. Thanks for having me.